Okay, so in this experiment, we're going to be performing calorimetry. So we had our calorimetry set up from the specific heat of the metal experiment. So what we're going to do is we're just going to deassemble our calorimetry setup from the previous experiment. We're going to make sure that we have a nice, clean, and dry calorimeter. And what we're going to do, just like before, is we're going to measure out a known mass of water into our calorimeter. So we're going to tare our entire calorimetry setup, including the cap. So we've tared our entire calorimetry setup. And now what we're going to do is we're going to dispense 10 milliliters of deionized water into our calorimeter, and we're going to record the mass of water. So here's our 10 milliliters of deionized water. We're going to quickly transfer it into our calorimeter, and we'll record the mass of our calorimeter plus the mass of water. Okay, so here is the mass of water in our calorimeter. We get 9.8 grams, well, 9.7. Let's see, give it a moment just to level out. And that gives us 9.8 grams of water inside our calorimeter. Okay, so now we're going to get a large beaker and we're going to place our setup gently into the beaker just for stability. We're going to remove the cap for now, and we're going to get our thermometer. Okay, and we're going to use our thermometer to determine the initial temperature of the water in our calorimeter. So the initial temperature of water in our calorimeter, in this case, is 23.2 degrees Celsius. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to make sure that we have our stirring rod prepared, as well as our calorimeter cap and our thermometer. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a cold pack, which has a principal ingredient of ammonium nitrate. And what we're going to do is we're going to weigh out 10 grams of ammonium nitrate. 10 grams of ammonium nitrate. So to do that, we're going to tare a weigh boat. Okay, so our weigh boat's tared now. And now what we're going to do is we're going to cut open our cold pack. Don't fold it or rough it up or anything, because if you do, it'll turn into a wet, soggy mess that you won't be able to get the ammonium nitrate out of. Okay. And if you open a cold pack, you'll have some water. That's actually what gets released from this when you fold a cold pack. And then you should see these pellets of ammonium nitrate, and we're going to weigh out 10 grams of ammonium nitrate. Okay, so now we're going to record the mass of ammonium nitrate that we've dispensed. So we've dispensed 10.2 grams of ammonium nitrate. And now we're going to set that off to the side. Okay, now this next part is time sensitive. So you're going to get a timer on your phone. And the moment you mix, the moment you add your ammonium nitrate to the water, you're going to need to start recording the temperature every 30 seconds with mixing. And that's what your stirring rod is for. Okay, so first and foremost, let's record the temperature of our water. So this is our initial temperature of our water before mixing, which is 23.5. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to really quickly, once we mix our ammonium nitrate and water, we're going to hit the timer. So we're going to pour the ammonium nitrate, we're going to hit the start button, and we're going to put our cap on, and we're going to start to stir our sample. And you're going to notice that the temperature drops rapidly. Now, every 30 seconds, so 30 seconds have passed, so we're going to take a reading. So this is the temperature after 30 seconds have passed. We're going to keep stirring and record the temperature in 30-second intervals for about 5 minutes. So a minute has passed. So here's our second reading. After a minute has passed, we're going to continue to mix our sample. And it's going to get pretty cold. So a minute and 30 seconds has passed. So here's the temperature after a minute and 30 seconds. It's 2.9 degrees Celsius. Let's continue mixing. You really want all of your ammonium nitrate to dissolve. I apologize if it's pretty rapid paced, but the way that this experiment is set up, you're going to have to take your readings pretty rapidly. Here's the temperature after 2 minutes have passed. We're going to continue mixing our sample. We're looking for the lowest temperature, and we're looking for our temperature to start to rise. Once it starts to rise, we know that we're done with this part. Okay, 2 minutes and 30 seconds has passed. So here's the temperature after 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's keep going now. And you'll notice you hear less of a clanging sound. That's because the solids are all starting to be completely dissolved in the enthalpy of solution. We're beginning to absorb heat from our surroundings as we dissolve our ammonium nitrate. So now we're going to record the temperature after 3 minutes, which again is 2.2 degrees Celsius. So we're starting to plateau. Let's keep going and continue mixing our sample. Here is the temperature after 3 minutes and 30 seconds. It's 2.6 degrees Celsius. Let's keep mixing our sample. We're going to continue for another minute total. Okay, so here's the temperature after 4 minutes. Let's continue stirring our sample. Don't have to be as Here's the temperature after 4.5 minutes. And finally, here's the temperature after 5 minutes. So we now have all the information we need for our first trial of ammonium nitrate. And we're going to record the minimum temperature into our table. So now that we've finished this first part, we're going to clean up our calorimeter, rinse off and clean off our thermometer and our stirring rod. And then we'll look at the enthalpy of reaction for a hand warmer. So let's clean up our setup, and we'll resume once we've finished cleaning up our setup. So we finished cleaning up our calorimeter and other materials. Now we're going to place our calorimeter setup, and we're going to tare it, and we're going to dispense some deionized water. We're going to dispense 10 mils of deionized water into our calorimeter. Okay, so let's dispense 10 mils of deionized water. So we have our 10 mils of deionized water, and we're going to record the mass of deionized water dispensed. So here's the mass of deionized water dispensed for the hand warmer trial. Okay, so now that we have that recorded, now what we're going to do is we're going to take our hand warmer and we're going to tare and save the mass of our calorimeter setup. So save your tare off to the side. So for example, my tare for my calorimeter setup is 16.8 grams, okay? So I'm gonna save that to the side. You'll see why in a moment. Now, this hand warmer reacts with oxygen. So you're gonna wanna have your thermometer and your stirring rod ready to go. We're gonna cut open our hand warmer and immediately pour it into our calorimeter, okay? So first and foremost, before we do anything, we're gonna record the temperature of water in our calorimeter. So in this case, the temperature of water in our calorimeter is 24.3 Celsius. This is our initial temperature. Now what we're going to do is we have our stirring rod, we have our cap, we have our thermometer ready to go. And the moment we cut the hand warmer, we're gonna pour it in. So we're gonna cut, and then we're gonna pour it in immediately. And we're gonna pour the entire contents of the hand warmer into our calorimeter. Whatever you don't get, don't worry. we have a way of figuring out the mass that we've dispensed. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start our timer. We're going to put our cap on. We're going to put our stirring rod in, and we're going to begin. So we have our cap on, we have our stirring rod in, and we're going to begin to stir our sample. And the temperature is going to rapidly rise as the hand warmer begins to react with oxygen. So here is the reading after 30 seconds. We're at 25.1. We're going to continue stirring our sample, and we'll record the temperature after another total minute has passed, recording our temperature in 30-second intervals. So a minute has passed, so our temperature is 25.3 Celsius. Let's continue mixing. And agitating our sample. Here is the temperature after a minute and a half has passed, so it's 25.7. Let's continue mixing our sample. So here is the temperature after 2 minutes has passed. Let's continue to stir our sample. So here is the temperature after 2.5 minutes have passed. Let's continue to stir our samples. Here is the temperature after 3 minutes have passed. Let's continue to stir our sample. Here's the temperature after 3.5 minutes have passed. Let's keep going and continue to stir our sample.
What was that last temperature? I'm sorry.
I believe it was 23.5, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, 27.5. This is a correct.
Okay, I was confused. Thank you.
Here is the temperature after 4 minutes and 4 minutes have passed. So it's 28 degrees Celsius. Let's continue stirring our sample. Here is the temperature after 4.5 minutes have passed. We may need to stir for more than 5 minutes. We're looking for a decrease from our peak. So we have 28.5 degrees for our 4.5 minute mark. Let's continue stirring our sample. After 5 minutes, here's the temperature of our sample after 5 minutes of mixing. We're going to have to continue to record the temperature past 5 minutes since it's still increasing. It's at 29.2 right now. So let's continue to mix our sample. So after 5.5 minutes, we're at 29.5 degrees, 29.6 degrees Celsius. Let's continue mixing. After 6 minutes, our temperature is 29.8. Oh, sorry, it's 30 degrees Celsius after 6 minutes. Let's keep going. After another 6.5 minutes, our temperature is 30.5. Let's mix for another 30 seconds. After 7 minutes, our temperature is 30.8 after 7 minutes. Let's continue mixing. After 8 minutes, our temperature is 31.2 degrees Celsius. So let's keep mixing. After 8.5 minutes, our temperature is 31.6 degrees Celsius. After 9 minutes, our temperature is 32 degrees Celsius, 32.1. Let's continue mixing. After 9.5 minutes, our temperature is 32.5, 32.6. So let's keep mixing. After 10 minutes, our temperature is 33.1 degrees Celsius. Let's continue mixing. After 10.5 minutes, our temperature is 33.6 degrees Celsius. So let's continue allowing our sample to react. After 11 minutes, our temperature is 34.0 degrees Celsius. After 11.5 minutes, our temperature is 34.3 degrees Celsius. After 12 minutes, our temperature is 34.7 degrees Celsius. Let's continue allowing our sample to mix and react. The temperature after 12.5 minutes is 35.2 degrees Celsius. So let's allow it to continue to react. After 13 minutes, our temperature is 35.5 degrees Celsius. After 13.5 minutes, our temperature is 35.8 degrees Celsius. After 14 minutes, our temperature is 36.2 degrees Celsius. So continuing on, after 14.5 minutes, our temperature is 36.7 degrees Celsius. After 15 minutes, our temperature is 36.8 degrees Celsius. Sorry, 37 degrees Celsius. So let's keep going. After 15 and a half minutes, our temperature is 37.3 degrees Celsius. So we'll continue allowing this reaction to occur. After 16 minutes, our temperature is 37.6 degrees Celsius. In 16 and a half minutes, our temperature is 37.8 degrees Celsius. Sorry, 38 degrees Celsius. So we'll let this keep going. For 17 minutes, our temperature is 38.2 degrees Celsius. So we'll let it keep going. Are other students, as you're running through this procedure, are you seeing something similar in your own calorimeter? So for 17 and a half minutes, our temperature is 38.5 degrees Celsius. So let's let it keep going. Just to get some feedback from the rest of the class, is everyone else observing similar results for this experiment? Is everyone else seeing a similar temperature increase? Everything's going okay so far when you're running through your procedure? So for the 18-minute mark, our temperature is 38.8 degrees Celsius. So we'll let this continue to keep going. In 18 and a half minutes, our temperature is 39.2. Let's let this keep going. So the temperature after 19 minutes is 39.6 degrees Celsius. So let's keep going. After 19 and a half minutes, the temperature is, one moment, let me The temperature is 40 degrees Celsius. So let's continue to allow it to mix. So after 20 minutes, the temperature is 40.2 degrees Celsius. So let's keep going. So in 20 minutes and 30 seconds, our temperature is 40.6 degrees Celsius. So we'll let this reaction keep going. In 21 minutes, our temperature is 40.7 degrees Celsius. So we'll let it keep going. At 21 minutes and 30 seconds, our temperature is 41 degrees Celsius. So we'll let it keep going from here. At 22 minutes, our temperature is 41.3 degrees Celsius. So now we're going to check it every minute. So after 23 minutes, our temperature is 41.7 degrees, 41.8 degrees Celsius. So let's let this reaction continue to proceed. Can definitely feel the heat radiating from the reaction out of the top. We'll check back on another minute. After 24 minutes, our temperature is 42.1 degrees Celsius. 42.2. So we'll check in about another minute. After 25 minutes, our temperature is 42.6. So let's let it go another minute. I'm not sure if the lab box designers realized how exothermic this reaction was. We'll let it keep going. After 26 minutes, our temperature is 43.1 degrees Celsius. So we'll let it go for another minute. After 27 minutes, our temperature is 43.5 degrees Celsius. So we'll let this keep going another minute. After 28 minutes, our temperature is 44 degrees Celsius. So we'll let this reaction continue to progress. And we'll check up on this reaction every minute. After 29 minutes, our temperature is 44.2 degrees Celsius. It's almost starting to plateau. We'll check back in another minute. So checking the temperature after 30 minutes, our temperature is 44.7 degrees Celsius. So we'll let this reaction continue. After 31 minutes, our temperature is 45.1 degrees Celsius. So we'll let it keep going and we'll check it after another minute. After 32 minutes, our temperature is 45.5 degrees Celsius. So we'll let this keep going. After 33 minutes, our temperature is 46.1 degrees Celsius. We'll let this reaction continue. After 34 minutes, our temperature is 46.5 degrees Celsius. So let's let it go for another minute. After 35 minutes, our temperature is 46.7. So we'll wait another minute. So after 36 minutes, our temperature is 47 degrees Celsius. So let's keep going with this. After 37 minutes, our temperature is 47.2 degrees Celsius. We'll let this keep going. After 38 minutes, our temperature is 47.5 degrees Celsius. After 39 minutes, our temperature is 47.8 degrees Celsius. After 40 minutes, our temperature is 48.8. So what we're going to do is I'm going to let this sample, I'll continue monitoring this sample, and I'll post the final temperature and the maximum temperature after the reaction is complete on Canvas. Because the procedure recommended in the lab box, this induction period is taking a while. So what I'll do is I'll pause the recording. We can clean up the other parts of this experiment, and then I'll provide you the final temperature via Canvas. Does that make sense to everyone? Yep. And I'll provide the maximum temperature via Canvas. So with the data on Canvas, you'll have enough information to complete this experiment.